Hey guys, let's talk and develop some sort of thinking point and strategy on how to give yourself the best shot at achieving your learning goals in 2025. Because I'm a little tired of trying endless strategies from endless YouTube videos, and every time some aspect falls short and the system collapses like a hole in the sandbag. Me and also I hope you are interested in learning how to learn better, and effectively, and not grind out hours mindlessly with something that doesn't produce tangible learning results. Especially if you're a student, which I am, or even in a work setting, which I also am. Being able to pick things up and learn fast, steady is an absolute game changer. By the end, I can promise you that you will have simplistic and ultra clarified vision of how to reach your learning goals within 2025. Now, I want to learn PyTorch this year. For those of you who don't know, it's a Python programming language framework, and the jargon is useless. Let's start off by thinking about two versions of me. I'm at point A right now, who hasn't learned this framework, who hasn't read a single line of PyTorch syntax, and has no clue how it works, who doesn't exactly have a plan or a roadmap on which projects to build using it, what the right resources are, how big the material is, how to approach it, up to what extent he wants to learn this. He just knows it's a machine learning framework and he wants to use it to build cool applications, which I think is a lot of us. Not knowing entirely about what we can do about a skill, we're attracted to it to the results it can produce, which is fine, but there's some problems if you don't know how to enjoy your way while learning. But we'll get into that later. Now let's look at point B. The version of me, let's say by the end of the year, not saying PyTorch will take specifically the entire year, it may take more or less, but let's hypothesize that by the end of the year, I'm this version of myself who can use PyTorch pretty fluently, take some data from anywhere, run algorithms on it using PyTorch, and build a fully fledged application. That's the dream outcome. Now, this is the difference between me right now and future me, hopefully. What this future version of me has is a set of abilities to understand what to do when I see data, how to learn PyTorch functions, code, and blah blah blah, and make sense of what's happening. And so there's a path between these 2 points. Actually, there are a million paths between these 2 points, all of which develops as time goes by. And there's actually two dimensions in which you can look at these paths from. One is the dimension of action. What actions can you take to find the most optimum path from point A to B? And another one is identity. What kind of person do you need to be to imitate the person at point B? What kind of identity do you need to have in order to reach there? Now, see the difference between these two dimensions. When you're seeing it as a set of actions you need to take, you're pretty confused. You have a sense that maybe you need to read some theory, then maybe code, or maybe you should go and read a book first, then code. Maybe no theory, just start learning through projects, just do XYZ. There's so many actions that you can take. Even if you pick up a resource, you don't know what to do with it. How do you properly approach it? How do you actually finish it? How can you be the most effective in taking action? Which I will try to think of in further videos. But right now, we're both clueless. Person at B, who is a pretty professional programmer. I think there are some things you can safely say. This person at point B is someone who has built a lot of projects, who has tried and tested code, and who understands the underlying principles of the framework because he has done some study, and he is someone who continues to learn because every good programmer has the mindset of a learner. They're constantly learning, iterating, tinkering, and adding things to their arsenal. But since he must have done all of these, I think it's safe to say that he doesn't go all in 100% on any particular thing. He does a balance, maybe a 30-30-40 split of theory, practice, and projects, or maybe there's another split of something else. Either way, we know that the identity of this version that we dream of has a great balance of certain things. And this notion automatically bridges some of the uncertainties we had in going from point A to B. We understand that we can't overwhelm ourselves with theoretical information here. We must learn a little, then apply it, learn a little bit more, then apply it again. Once we've applied a certain number of things, maybe we will make a little project out of it. That's a simple enough framework that we can develop by simply thinking about the identity of who this person is that we wish to become. Now, there's a lot more nuanced details about the methods in which he studies or how he thinks about different things, what goes on when he's coding and stuff, but that's a different set of values we need to think about later. Now, let's think about another aspect of this person at point B. What does their work ethic look like? By the end of 2025, there's about roughly 8 to 9 months left till then. Is this a person who has spent 3 hours a day these 8 to 9 months to reach this position? I don't know. Is it 5 hours, 7 hours, 9 hours a day? No freaking clue. Because I don't know how much content there is in this PyTorch framework, how much knowledge I would need to have to build fully fledged applications. So now what? We have a lack of information. Do we just give up? Not exactly. If you notice here, that's the next piece of information we're looking for. So when you actually start to become the identity of this person, the very first hours you start to learn PyTorch, this becomes intuitive that you should start off by understanding how much information you need to consume to understand how broad, big, wide, and applicable the topic is, to understand how big a dragon this is for you to slay by the end of the year. This means fleshing out a big picture understanding of the entire topic. If you start to do that from day one, then pretty soon you will know that, oh, this is a pretty huge and insane topic. I started out spending 3 hours a day learning this, but actually, I think this person at B is someone who actually spent 5 hours learning this every day. That way, it might seem plausible for me at A, with my current study skills, to become the person at B within the given time frame, which is by the end of the year. Now you analyze some more parts of this identity of this person at B, what they're specifically good at, what did they start out by learning first about PyTorch, what are the most fundamental to detailed concepts, and how much weight and importance does it carry. These questions aren't technical details of the subject itself, but as you move along from your current state at A to becoming that identity of the person at B, the path which you take to become that identity suddenly starts to be more simple and the easiest path without overwhelming you with thoughts and decisions that confuse you. Of course, there's a lot of other factors that go into this process, but this will give you the best shot at creating and following through a rough estimate by taking into consideration who you are right now instead of what your potential is, and comparing that to who is it the person that you're trying to become, who actually has that learning goal that you're trying to reach, and your goal is to slowly bridge that gap a little more and more every day obsessively. And that is how you reach your learning goals. Actually, this year. But let's not bask in theory. This was an exercise for myself too, because I will be starting to learn like this. So let's do this journey together, because true knowledge lies in the pragmatic details when you actually start executing things.